Stop whatever you're doing and listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is the one truth younger women will never say out loud, but every older man needs to hear. Younger women don't become obsessed with older men because of money, looks, or status. They become obsessed because of a single trick older men don't even know they're doing, and once you master it, you become unforgettable. I'm talking about the kind of presence that makes her pause mid-scroll, the kind of energy that makes her think about you long after the conversation ends, the kind of impact that younger guys simply can't compete with. Most older men lose younger women not because they lack something, but because they hide the one thing that makes them more attractive than anyone her age. And when you finally unlock this, she won't just notice you. She'll remember you, she'll chase you, and she'll feel something she hasn't felt with anyone else. So if you're an older man watching this, don't blink, because in the next few moments, I'm going to show you the exact trick that turns you from just another guy into the man she can't forget. The unshakable presence of an older man is not just a personality trait. It's an entire experience, and younger women feel it the moment you walk into a room. It's the calm that comes from knowing who you are, the confidence that doesn't need to be loud, and the steadiness that makes her feel like she can finally exhale. Most younger guys her age are rushing, proving, posting, performing. But you've already lived enough life to stop pretending. And that difference hits her harder than you realize. Studies in behavioral psychology show that women are naturally drawn to emotional stability because it signals safety, reliability, and maturity. This is why your presence becomes unforgettable without you even trying. And that's exactly why you need to pay attention right now, because this is where your biggest advantage lies. Your presence becomes a mirror to her deepest needs. When she talks, you listen without trying to impress. When she asks something, you answer without overthinking. When she shares a fear, you don't panic or dismiss it. You hold space for it. Younger women are drawn to that because in a world full of overstimulation and men who react before they think, your calm becomes rare, and rarity creates value. Just imagine how she feels when she's been surrounded by boys who act on impulse, get jealous over everything, or treat every conversation like a competition. Then suddenly, she meets a man who feels like peace instead of chaos. She remembers that man. She thinks about that man. She wants more of that man. Your unshakable presence is also tied to self-control, and this is where most older men underestimate their power. You don't need to chase her. You don't need to impress her. You don't need to act younger to fit her world. Younger women are not looking for a man who blends in. They're looking for a man who stands out. Every time you respond with patience instead of pressure, every time you maintain your boundaries, every time you stay centered no matter how emotional the moment is, you trigger a level of attraction she doesn't feel with men her age. This is exactly why I'm telling you to stay with me in this video, because once you understand this, you stop competing with younger men completely. Think about how powerful it is when she notices that you don't get triggered over small things, that you don't need validation, that you don't rush to prove your worth. That's when your presence becomes addictive. It's not your age, it's the emotional gravity you carry. Younger women remember the man who made them feel safe, not the man who tried the hardest to impress them. And the truth is, when you embody this unshakable presence, you become the man she tells her friends about, the man she compares others to, and the man she can't get out of her mind because finally, someone feels solid in a world full of uncertainty. The magnetic masculine standard is the secret advantage older men don't even realize they possess. And once you understand it, you become the kind of man younger women can't forget. It's not about being perfect rich or having some flawless lifestyle. It's about the standard you live by, how you speak, how you carry yourself, what you tolerate, and what you simply refuse to entertain. Younger women are not drawn to older men because of age. They are drawn to the strength that comes from a man who knows exactly what he will and will not accept. And if you're watching this right now, stay with me, because this is one of the most powerful shifts you'll ever learn. Younger men often confuse attraction with effort. They think the more they chase, the harder they try, the more a woman will value them. But you already know that real value never chases, it attracts. The reason your standard becomes magnetic is because it creates contrast. When you don't react to drama, when you don't tolerate disrespect, when you don't allow someone to pull you out of your character, you demonstrate control, confidence, and emotional strength. Psychology research shows that people are drawn to those who display autonomy and self-assurance. And this is exactly what younger women feel when they encounter a man who holds his standard without apology. There is something unforgettable about a man who doesn't bend just to be liked. When a younger woman sees that your attention must be earned, not handed out, her curiosity rises. When she realizes you won't tolerate inconsistency, her respect increases. And when she notices that you don't change your values depending on who you're talking to, she becomes more invested. This is why you need to keep watching, because the standards you set are the blueprint of how she will treat you. If you lower them, she loses interest. If you uphold them, she becomes drawn in. Your standard also communicates something deeper: emotional discipline. Anyone can look confident, but not everyone can stay consistent. When you maintain calm during conflict, when you respond instead of react, when you show patience instead of insecurity, you stand out instantly. Younger women see a man who can handle pressure, and that makes them feel safe. They see a man who doesn't need to prove himself, and that makes them feel inspired. They see a man who operates from strength, and that makes them feel connected. In a world where most men chase validation, the man who values himself becomes the man everyone wants. And here's the real reason your standard becomes unforgettable. It makes her level up. When she realizes that you won't accept half effort, she gives more. When she sees that you value your time, she values it too. When she notices you hold yourself to a higher bar, she feels motivated to meet you there. And that's when you become the man she thinks about at night, the man she compares other men to, the man she remembers long after the moment has passed, not because you tried to be unforgettable, but because your standard made you impossible to forget. The advantage of experience is one of the most powerful assets an older man carries, but it only becomes magnetic when you learn how to use it the right way. Younger women don't connect with you because you've lived more years. They connect because those years have shaped you into someone who understands life on a deeper level. You've seen enough, felt enough, learned enough to respond with clarity instead of confusion, calmness instead of chaos. And if you stay with me right now, you'll understand how this single advantage can make you unforgettable without forcing anything or pretending to be someone you're not. Experience gives you an emotional language most younger men haven't learned yet. You understand people, energy, intentions, and patterns. You know when someone is acting from insecurity, when someone is testing boundaries, when someone is hiding behind confidence. Younger women feel that immediately. They feel understood without needing to explain everything. They feel seen in a way they aren't used to. And this is where your advantage becomes your power. When a woman feels understood, she becomes naturally drawn to the person who understands her. Psychology studies consistently show that emotional resonance creates long-term attraction far more than physical appearance. This is why you need to keep watching, because this is not just an advantage, it's your signature. Your experience also teaches you patience, and that patience makes you stand out instantly. Younger men often rush, push, and pressure because they're driven by insecurity or fear of losing her. You, on the other hand, have learned the value of timing. You know that real connection doesn't need to be forced. You know that silence can say more than 1,000 words. You know when to lean in and when to step back. And younger women recognize this as emotional maturity, something extremely rare in their generation. It creates respect, safety, and trust. 3 things that make a man unforgettable without needing to chase anyone. Another part of your experience is your ability to communicate with intention. You don't talk just to fill the space. You don't play mind games. You don't jump from emotion to emotion. You speak with clarity because you've learned how to process your feelings instead of dumping them on someone. This makes your presence feel stable, and stability, especially emotional stability, is one of the strongest attraction triggers for women. When she talks to you, she feels heard. When she confides in you, she feels protected. When she spends time with you, she feels grounded. That grounded feeling is something she remembers long after the conversation ends, even if she doesn't fully understand why. Your life experience also gives you direction. You're not trying to figure out who you are anymore. You stand on your identity instead of searching for it. That certainty makes you more attractive than any physical trait. It makes her feel like she's talking to a man, not a boy. And the truth is, when you use your experience with humility instead of ego, confidence instead of arrogance, depth instead of dominance, You become the kind of man younger women keep thinking about because you offer something they don't find easily, emotional depth wrapped in masculine stability. Silent confidence is one of the strongest forms of attraction an older man carries, and younger women feel it instantly even if they can't explain it. It's the way you don't rush to fill every silence, the way you don't try to be the loudest in the room, the way you let your energy speak before your words ever do. Younger men often confuse confidence with noise. They think showing off, bragging, and constantly proving themselves makes them look strong. But you already know that real strength doesn't need an audience. And if you stay with me right now, you'll understand how this quiet confidence becomes unforgettable, even addictive. To younger women, silent confidence is not about being distant, it's about being grounded. When you speak, you mean what you say. When you listen, you're fully present. When you respond, you do it with intention rather than impulse. That level of control pulls her in because it communicates that your emotions don't run you. You run them. Psychology studies consistently show that women perceive men with calm, composed body language as more trustworthy and more masculine. And this is where your silence becomes powerful. It tells her you are not desperate for attention, validation, or approval. You choose what you engage with. You choose who gets access to you. That choice makes you desirable. Another reason silent confidence stands out is because it creates mystery, not the forced kind, but the natural kind that happens when a man doesn't overshare his life or emotions too quickly. Younger women are surrounded by men who reveal everything instantly, who rush to impress, who try too hard to appear interesting. But when you speak with purpose and keep your private life private, it makes her curious. She wants to know more. She wants to understand how you think. She wants to figure you out. And that curiosity is one of the strongest emotional pulls a man can create, especially when it's rooted in authenticity. Silent confidence also shows in the way you move. You don't fidget, you don't seek validation through reactions. You don't let small things shake you. Even the way you sit or walk communicates that you're in control of yourself and your space. Younger women notice this immediately because it contrasts sharply with the chaotic energy they often encounter. When she sees a man with steady eyes, calm posture, and deliberate movements, she feels a sense of stability around him. Stability is attractive, stability is rare, stability is unforgettable, and here is where silent confidence becomes truly magnetic. It makes her feel safe to be herself. When you're not trying to impress her, she relaxes. When you don't judge her quickly, she opens up. When you don't pressure her for anything, she feels comfortable, and comfort creates connection. It creates trust. It creates attachment. The more comfortable she feels around you, the more she starts associating you with peace. And peace is something she won't forget because so few men offer it. That is the power of silent confidence. It speaks louder than anything you could ever say. And once a younger woman experiences it, she keeps coming back to it again and again because it makes her feel grounded in a world that constantly pulls her in every direction. The generational difference effect is one of the biggest reasons younger women find older men unforgettable, and it has nothing to do with age and everything to do with what you represent. Younger women grow up in a world of fast connections, short attention spans, and relationships that come with pressure instead of peace. Their generation is filled with uncertainty, men who don't know what they want, men who change their mind overnight, men who fear commitment or responsibility. So when she meets a man who carries clarity, stability, and emotional direction, it hits her differently. She feels something she hasn't felt before, and if you stay with me right now, you'll understand why this generational gap becomes your strongest advantage. You offer what she's not finding in her world. Her generation is full of situationships. You offer certainty. Her generation is filled with emotional immaturity. You offer understanding. Her generation is obsessed with instant gratification. You offer consistency. This contrast pulls her in because it gives her access to a different level of connection, a deeper one that she rarely experiences. Studies on attraction show that people are naturally drawn to qualities that are scarce in their environment, and emotional maturity is extremely scarce today. That's why the difference between your generation and hers doesn't push her away. It draws her closer. What makes this effect even stronger is the way you communicate. You're not afraid to state what you feel. You're not afraid to say what you want. You don't text her all day but disappear for weeks. You don't send mixed signals. That emotional clarity is refreshing to her. It's something her age group doesn't give her because most younger men are still figuring themselves out. When she talks to you, she feels heard. When she asks a question, she gets a real answer. When she shares her insecurities, she feels understood instead of judged. That's when she starts to trust you in a way she doesn't trust men her own age. The generational difference also makes your lifestyle and mindset more attractive. You're not driven by trends or social media validation. You don't need online attention to feel important. You've outgrown the need to impress. And younger women notice that your life has structure. Your emotions have order. Your conversations have depth. Your energy has purpose. This level of stability makes her feel grounded. And when a woman feels grounded, she naturally becomes more connected and more curious about the man who gives her that feeling. And the final part of this advantage is the emotional leadership you provide without even trying. Younger women are used to leading the relationship because younger men often lack direction. But when she meets you, she feels guided, not controlled, not restricted, guided. She feels like she can relax, like she doesn't need to hold everything together. You bring peace to her chaos, security to her confusion, and confidence to her uncertainty. And that is exactly why this generational difference turns you into the man she remembers, the man she thinks about unexpectedly, the man she compares everyone else to, because you offer what her generation simply cannot give her: depth, certainty, and emotional strength wrapped in masculine guidance. And if you've made it this far, understand this clearly. Becoming unforgettable to a younger woman isn't about changing who you are. It's about recognizing the value you already carry. Your presence, your standards, your experience, your silent confidence, and the depth your generation shaped within you are your greatest strengths. When you own them fully, you stop competing and start attracting. So take these insights, apply them, and step into the version of yourself that leaves a lasting mark. And if you want more guidance on how to build this magnetic energy, make sure you follow, subscribe, and stay connected. Your transformation starts now.